why is change hard? No, seriously. I feel like change is complicated, not because it's something that people can't do. I think everybody can change a behavior. People can change the way they do things. But then it's like, hey, why do people stop themselves from changing? And I think what comes with change comes a lot of responsibility, and on top of responsibility, it also comes with a challenge, right? Because if it's real change, you have to absolutely pass the test. And I believe the universe gives you a test before you become blessed, before the blessing comes, right? So what I've noticed in my life, and I want to know if people think the same thing, but when I'm about to level up, or I'm about to grow, I'm about to do something different or better for me and my family or whatever that aligns with who I am, there's always a challenge that comes to pull me back into who I was. That happened to me whether I was in a relationship, that happened whether I was just, stuck in a limiting belief, right? So it's funny because once, something that could usually will push you off your center happens, we normally run back to the old pattern. For example, right? I used to use food a lot for like comfort and for me to feel like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm safe in this moment. And I didn't even realize it, because when you're not aware that you're using something to comfort yourself or make yourself feel better, or to kind of like protect yourself, and it's doing more harm than good, you tend to just do it without even acknowledging it. So that's what a nervous system response is exactly. In fact, there's things you do naturally that is a trauma response. It's not really you know what I'm saying? So what I've learned is like, okay, if that's not the goal, if that's not something that I wanna change, it takes work. And most people don't want to do the work that it takes to change and what it comes with, because most of the change that it comes with changes your belief, changes the behavior, but it also changes your lifestyle. And when you change your lifestyle, it's a fear of the unknown. Like, I know if I'm going to be drinking and smoking with my friends, what is going to happen. Like, we're going to have a great time, and I understand that there's no growth happening there, and I do also understand that that's probably gonna be the thing that impacts me, right, the most, because it's not going to get me where I gotta go, right? But I'm gonna have fun. That's what they say, like instant gratification, is because it actually makes me feel better in the moment, but it doesn't really like long-term help me, because it has long-term side effects. And that's why it's so interesting. Like, can you delay feeling happy just for a moment for the greater good of what you want in the long run? And if you can do that, you can have the ability to change your life. See, most people, my dad always told me, like, yo, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I find that to be true, right? Because if change was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be a millionaire. Nobody would be poor. There wouldn't be rich or be poor. There wouldn't be blessed and highly favored and criminals. Like, it wouldn't be anything. It wouldn't be left or right, black and white, yin and yang. It wouldn't be none of that. So how do you get from being in your own survival mode, because that's what they call it, to just thriving in abundance, right? How can you change that? How can you shift the way you show up in your life forever? And that's by being consistent with who you are and what you want out of this life. See, nobody tells you that the reason why you stay disciplined isn't because for everybody else, right? Some people get disciplined and they're like, oh yeah, I'm about to look good for the women. And some people just be disciplined because they know that this is the way that they're living and this is who they are to the core. So which one are you? Like, are you doing something to appease others, or are you doing something because you know that if I don't live this way, I can't function properly? It's just not safe for me. I don't feel safe within myself if I'm not showing up for myself the way I need to be. And that was something I had to learn from in myself, was that nobody's going to love you. And I repeat this, nobody's going to love you better than you can love yourself, right? That's the truth. Nobody can love you better than you love yourself. So what is the things that you're not giving to yourself on a daily, consistently, that you're seeking outside of your energy from another person? Because another human being cannot give you and provide you the love that you need internal, right? I just want you to like picture that. And it all comes with change and the fear of doing something different, because once you change, your surroundings change, the people you're around change, and those patterns, those old habits, they make you want to go back to safer territories. You know, like right now, I even feel like a change for me is living in Connecticut, right? I'm away from friends, I'm away from family, but I'm making this change because I want better for my life. And the crazy thing is, I see my sister's on the same journey because she moved to Texas, and it's like, you know, wow, she's independently away. This gives her a moment to herself to reflect, to become a better version of herself, and to grow. And we all on different levels, on different timing with this thing. But if you are willing to sit in the storm and become the better version of yourself, what will you be on the other side? And I think people are afraid to see who they truly could become if they weren't being who they were. So who you are today is not who you're going to be tomorrow. And I wish I could have told myself that when I was younger. Like, I'm not going to be interested in the same things I do. I'm not going to be talking to the same people that I did. And I'm not going to behave the same way that I used to, right? So I didn't know how far I would come mentally. And I didn't need anybody else's approval for me to become the best version of me, right? The only approval I ever needed was my own. I be talking to my mom, and she be trying to tell me what to do, and I be like, straight up, Mom, I don't need your approval anymore. I love you to death. I don't have nothing negative to say about you, because you a queen, you know what I mean? And I appreciate everything you've done for me, right? And I appreciate, you know, the journey and all of that. But at the end of the day, as a man, I gotta step on my own too and become the best version of me for me and who that is for me. I can't let you dictate my ship anymore, because anytime I let somebody dictate my ship, it always went left because it wasn't for me. And that's the thing. God is never gonna put you in a path, and I wish I knew that when I was 18. But you know, it took some time, and it's all good, because at least I acknowledge it and I realize it, and I'm hoping that whoever's listening to this will acknowledge it, that when you do things for you in the way you want to do it, your life is going to come out the way you want to see it. So when you get the results that you have, you don't have no regrets, because you lived it the way you wanted to live it. If you're gonna be somebody who's not gonna be productive and motivated, and you're aware that, like, hey, I might not get the level of abundance that I want, I just want to be having a chill life and having fun, and I accept the consequences, that's okay, right? Because I don't feel like it has to be, oh yeah, you just got to be on this path to success and richness. No, just be real with yourself, right? If you can be happy and real with yourself and say, yeah, this is what I want out of my life, then that's cool. But if you want to change and you want to level up and you want to develop, be willing to put that work in. Don't stay the same. Don't, just because it's difficult, don't give up. Don't be moved. And have people who know and realize, like, hey, when you put in that work in and they see you changing, they speak life into you. That's a whole other thing that I had to realize. Like, if they not speaking life into you and they just saying, like, see, I told you, man, that wasn't gonna work out. You know, like, if you would have just kind of like did what I tried to tell you, maybe it would have worked. That's limiting beliefs. And I had to get rid of those people. And some of them people was my close friends. Some of them people was my family. I mean, like, close family. Like, we spoke everyday family. And I just had to be like, you know what? I can't grow and develop when people are not doing the work, but they're trying to dictate the work that I do. That makes no sense. It makes no logical sense to me now. It didn't make sense then. And you can't be in an environment. You are a product of your environment. Anybody listening to this right now, you are a product of your environment. The people you spend your time with is the reason why you think the way you think. It's the reason why you behave the way you behave. It's the reason why you don't even feel like you can grow and develop, because somebody along your life, along your path, had told you that you can't, or they behave in a way that doesn't show that growth is available, but it is available. And when you create the space for yourself to think and make a decision for yourself, you start to realize, like, wait, maybe there is something more for me. And when you get to that point in your life, it doesn't matter whatever you have right in the moment, because you know that you're blessed. And God says, be fruitful and multiply. And I truly believe that, because the more you give is the more you get. And if you're not willing to put in the work and have faith, then you can't think that you're gonna create any level of abundance. And the funny thing about it is, because like the way I went before, it was like, oh, I didn't like really believe, right? That was really the hardest thing for me, like belief and faith, and like, oh, everything's gonna be all right. I mean, but guess what? Everything that I've done thus far, I believe, right? And so, because what you have created in your life, you gotta realize you believe it to be true, and that's why it's in front of you. Your belief system matters, and if you're willing to believe, you're willing to do the work to get what you're gonna receive in life, and you're gonna get exactly what you worked hard for and believed in. I didn't have the faith before. I didn't, and I when I didn't have the faith and I didn't have the skills and I didn't do the research and I wasn't aware. I was really ignorant, right? It prevented me and stopped me from growing the way I needed to grow, right? Because if I would have developed those things, even when nobody was teaching me those things, and this is for really people who's growing up in a single parent home, or they don't have any parents, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not over. It's just began. And you really gotta be like, listen, I'm single-handedly doing this, right? Because I don't have mommy and daddy. I don't have daddy. I don't have somebody to tell me how to do it. And even if you have a parent that may not be fully developed mentally or doing the thing that, like doing their job properly, right? Because we all have family that, they got their issues and they're working on themselves. You have to be mindful and really say, like, look, guess what? I can be more. I can do more. And it's up to me to create that, not up to nobody else.